Love, that ever-flowing liquid fire of light, ever-expanding and illuminating truth, which is always revealed with wisdom, a spiritual nutrient necessary for vitality that is maintained through selflessness, a filter of ether that aids purity, which is love. Love, a limitless paper lantern floating into infinity on the intentions and actions of initiates of the mysteries. All right, welcome everybody. We have a special guest with us today. We have Thomas Parker Harris. Thomas, how you doing, brother?
I'm well, thank you. How are you doing, Ross?
I'm having a magical day so far, man. Thank you for asking.
Wonderful.
First question that I'd like to ask everybody right out of the gate, what are you grateful for in this moment?
So in this moment, I am grateful that I am clean and sober today for 5 years. I just celebrated 5 years of sobriety last Wednesday. I am grateful for yoga. I'm grateful for the class that I taught this morning. It was a really great experience, and I get so much joy out of watching other people really get into their practice through my instruction and being able to have that bond with my clients. It just makes me so happy. And then I'm grateful for my family and my boyfriend and for everyone that showed up for me yesterday to celebrate my 5 years. And I'm just grateful to be alive here on earth today. And yeah, I'm grateful to be on this podcast. So thank you for asking.
You're very welcome, man. Thank you for taking the time. And I like the things that you express gratitude for, because recovery is dear to my heart. As I've told you, yoga, as we were talking about before, is something that's played such a crucial part in like filling that void that's left by when you stop using substances and stuff like that. And family is crucial for me too. I don't have a significant other at this time, but it's one of those things that will show up when it's supposed to. And I think that there's so much richness in having gratitude and such tangible things, but it's like recovery and yoga both require, I mean, all those things actually require a lot of dedication and patience and introspection, where they're all there, but you have to put some work into a lot of that stuff. So it's cool that you're like grateful for the work, I assume, as well.
Yeah, I am. It's not always easy to do the work, but I've always been willing to do it. At least over the last 5 years, I've always been willing to work hard on myself, because my threshold for pain has gotten so much smaller as I continue to evolve. So when I'm uncomfortable, I'm more prone to run to using any type of tool that I have than, I mean, sometimes I sit in it, of course, you know, I'm human. I'll sit in my problems or wallow in stuff for a period of time, but I'm always coming back to doing something to help me to feel better or get more mentally aligned. And that recently has mostly been all about trust and having faith in how the way that life is going to unfold, because my automatic default is usually, you know, things aren't going to work out. I'm going to be dropped on my ass. I'm, you know, going to be homeless pushing a shopping cart. Like my mind can go to like really catastrophic places. And lately it's been learning how to push those thoughts aside and recognizing that I've always been taken care of, and having faith and trust that the universe or higher power has my back always, even in moments of doubt and moments that seem unclear. There's always clarity and a solution. And so that's been my theme of the last few weeks.
That's beautiful, man. One thing I forgot to say was congratulations on your time, man. That's freaking awesome. I know. You're welcome, man. Thank you for doing that, because with somebody with more time than me, you're an inspiration to me personally. And I know that you have a lot of information and insight that if I ever needed, I could shoot you a message and reach out to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love connecting with my sober brothers and sisters and helping other people through day-to-day life in sobriety, because I know, just as the next person does, how difficult it can be to be sober in a world that's not, and learning how to navigate through day-to-day stressors and life emotions is really challenging, especially as an alcoholic and an addict. And the only way that I think that I can do that is by daily communication with people that are clean and sober and, you know, living the same life that I am, and always coming back to that acceptance of being, you know, a sober member of society. It can be difficult, and but it's so possible and worth it.
Absolutely. One of the things I like to touch on too is how you talked about developing faith that there's like things are working out for you and having that lower threshold for pain, dude. It's like physical pain, very high emotional tolerance for, which I just would venture to say you probably have that as well. But like that emotional pain, after having so many different ways to numb it for so long, it stings. And it's like, I know when I'm feeling a certain kind of way that I'm doing something wrong or perceiving something wrong. And it's like you said, I can sit there and wallow in it for a bit, but I'm so much more geared towards solutions. And it's like, and there's so many solutions that I've practiced and cultivated through recovery, whether it's talking to somebody, exercising, using creative ways of processing it well, where it's really like, to have that shift in your life where you recognize that if I pick up a substance, whatever it may be, it's not going to relieve any of this suffering. It'll just push it aside. And then I have all these other problems as a consequence of it.
Yeah, totally. It doesn't work anymore like it used to. And it just creates a world of despair and insurmountable problems. And it's so much easier to stay clean and, you know, restart by restarting your program or spiritual practice or whatever it is that you do to stay sober. It's so much easier to restart that and pick up your tools than restart your time, you know, and going back out to a miserable life. I'd rather be miserable, sober, you know, than be drunk and loaded, miserable, wishing that I was sober, you know?
Absolutely. It's something you can hold on to. It's, well, at least if I don't do anything else right today, at least I have this that I've been able to maintain throughout all this adversity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, that's a beautiful thing to be able to say. What quotes do you feel most moved by, like 2 or 3? And could you explain what they mean to you?
Yeah, of course. So actually, I have paid attention to a lot of quotes throughout my whole life. And, but to be honest with you, if I'm just going to share honestly, there's only one quote that I know that has stuck with me from when I was very young, probably like 14 or 15, that I remember to this day. I do a lot of personal seeking and I'm reading quotes all the time. And there's a bunch that stand out to me, but I'm actually only going to share on one if that's okay.
Totally fine, man.
Okay. It says, I don't know where I found this. I found this when I was about 14 or 15. I was living up north in Oregon. The first time I ever attempted sobriety, I was in a like group living situation / boarding school. And the quote that stood out to me says, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying that I will try again tomorrow. And that really speaks volumes to me, because I think oftentimes, like in the face of fear or times of despair, it's like we don't have to go out and do be like heroic or be like perfect or do the best thing ever. Like it gives you room to sort of stumble and also say, you know what, like I made it through one day today. And the way that I handled today was perfect as it is. And it's okay that today I'm just going to go to bed and say that I'm going to try again tomorrow. Like the willingness to start over for a new day, to get out of bed, to live life on a daily basis, if this makes sense, to just continue to try whenever you fail. Like despite your fear, going through with it anyways. For me, that's being like fearless and courageous, is even though you have fear or maybe you haven't done something perfectly, being able to say, you know what, I'm going to try this again. Even though I'm scared, I'm going to do it anyways. I don't have to be perfect at it. And I remember the first time I read that, it really resonated with me because it gave me freedom to be human and make mistakes and not do things perfectly, but notice and recognize the part of me that was always willing to try again, you know, and that is courageous, because my ultimate default is like, screw it, I'm not doing anything. I give up. I'm backing out. You know, I've done that so many times, cut and run. And it takes courage to like show up again in the face of adversity. So that's my quote that I'd love to share with you guys today. And that's the one that's resonated with me for, you know, like 15 years now. So
I can see why that one hung around, man. And your explanation of it, like, so surreal. Because for me, like having a history of like mental illness, part of that being depression. There was days where the best I could just do is like hope to try better tomorrow and stuff like that. Not that that's unique to depression. I think that that's a human thing as well. And then the
right,
perfectionist element of it that you spoke on about in your own life. I feel that in my own thing, I've tried to be perfect so many times, and it's something I can never live up to. Maybe after the fact, I could say I did that perfectly because I wasn't judging it and I did it exactly how I was supposed to show up. And it wasn't perfect by what other people may judge it as, but it was perfect in the fact that I just let it be how it was, and there's nothing I could change about it to make it better.
right, totally. Yeah, and it's so helpful. I mean, yeah, the perfectionist thing is huge for me because I'm an all or nothing type of person. So if it doesn't go perfectly, then screw it. Or if it, you know, I'm always just all or nothing with things, and so that gray area is super important for somebody like me to be like, you know what? Okay, so I'm a human being, and I don't do things perfectly. I might not say the right thing at the right time always, but I'm willing to correct it and show up for myself by trying again.
Absolutely. It's like that saying, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up, man.
Yep.
And being able
And
to take,
as an addict in sobriety, I've had to fall down and get back up so many times. I mean, I have 5 years today, but I also want to clarify and say that I was in and out of program or sobriety for 8 years, using and drinking and trying to stay sober. And so, um, you know, without realizing it, I was kind of practicing that quote by showing up and trying again, despite the fact that maybe other people stopped believing in me or thinking that I couldn't do it, or saying, you know, you're always going to be the same person, and just being like, maybe believing them, but also paying attention to the part that didn't believe what other people said and showed up for myself anyways, even though I failed a million times before I succeeded. So,
that's beautiful, man. I mean, for me too, I've been in and out of recovery programs since the age of 17. I can't
yeah,
ever say personally that I've relapsed because I never actually got it or like actually ever worked any steps or did any of the things that like you're supposed to do. But
right.
I have so much respect for people that have been involved and active in it and have messed up and do keep coming back. Um, that takes so much tenacity to do that and to say, I'm so worth doing this and I have something to share with myself and I want to give myself the best opportunity and the best life possible. So I'll humble myself. It's like they say, you can't save your ass and your face at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah, and when you're new and you're coming back for the, you know, umpteenth time, it's like, um, even though you probably feel like shit about yourself, you know, you have to be strong because, you know, you're in front of everybody owning the fact that you need help and that you're here to try again. And like, after going through whatever it is that you've gone through, that can, at least for me, I was always very vulnerable and very sensitive and very emotional during those times. And so being able to like set that aside and show up for myself. I don't know why that's coming up a lot today, showing up for myself. So maybe that's something that I need to do, is show up for myself really big today. But being able to show up for myself despite how I felt inside and maybe what others think, you know, putting myself first and being like, I'm going to do this one more time.
Absolutely, man. It's cool that you said showing up for yourself too. That's been like a reoccurring theme in some of the things that I've spoke about lately is like how I like to show up for me as well. Like, because before it was always trying to show up how I thought other people wanted me, or to show up how ever I was. It was never like, what is the best I can do? Like, how can I up my game for me? Or like, how can I be the best me I can be? And it's such a surreal experience when you really step into that, I guess.
Absolutely.
So Could you explain who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Thomas Harris. I live in West Hollywood. I am currently teaching yoga full time. I was a real estate agent for since 2014, and I had some success in that, but it was not feeding my soul. And it was kind of, for me, I'm speaking for myself, real estate was something that required me to be the person that I'm trying not to be, which was dishonest and maybe always trying to get something out of another person, spending time with people with the motive of, maybe down the line, I can get a house out of you or something like that. And it wasn't feeling good at all. And so I have now turned to completely and only working and doing things that I love and that feed my soul and that are good for other people and that are healing for myself and other people. And it's not been an easy journey, but it's been an amazing journey. And I'm somebody who is super passionate about traveling. I traveled to 13 countries in this last year alone. And I really get so much joy out of seeing and experiencing and in being with new and different cultures. I learned so much from the world and from different places in the way that people are living their life. And that's been a huge part of my journey with yoga as well, because I spent a month of this year living in India in an ashram and with yogis in the birthplace of yoga in a city called Rishikesh, and really dialing it down and focusing on my spiritual life and journey and doing 200 hours of yoga at the base of the Himalayan mountains. Like, that's who I am as a person. I'm somebody who is constantly seeking, wanting to do better, connecting with nature. And for me, the things that I love are all experiences. And I'm really learning now. I'm 28 years old. I'm a Gemini, for the record. I'm really learning to really only focus and be a part of things that I really want to do, because I'm only on this earth for who knows how many days, minutes, seconds, years I have left. It's not worth it for me to be spending time in a suit and tie doing things that I hate. And even if it means me like making less money or making sacrifices to my lifestyle, like maybe I won't be able to take a trip for, a year or maybe like a few months longer than I would wish, but it's worth it to do something that I love. So when I think about myself, I would just say I'm somebody who loves to work with other people. I love to travel. I'm passionate about that, and I'm passionate about helping others. And for me, I help others by teaching them yoga and learning how to connect with their body and their breath and the present moment, because I need it so much too. Like, when I'm teaching others, I'm really teaching myself, because the things that I teach in my class, I'm taking into my own life outside of, the studio. And it's helping me to become a better and trustworthy person. And so, yeah, I love nature. I love life. I love my friends and my family and connecting with other people and doing stuff like this. And I'm really, really learning how to pay attention to that this year. So that's who I am, and that's what I do.
That's awesome, man. There's so much that I like want to unpack there, and I know that for I want to say brevity's sake, I can't get into all of it. Maybe you can come back on sometime. We could touch on it in more detail.
Yeah, of course.
I like how you talked about like following your passion and do what you want, and like getting out of like that soul sucking career in lots of ways, or something that wasn't aligned for you. It's like, for me, I have a history in culinary arts, moving out of that just because it's not healthy for me as an addict or someone with mental illness. Building up a business of my own, something that I'm passionate about that I can hopefully help some people with as well. But I'm also taking a career, not a career, a job, a temporary job, is like a way to fund that. So it's cool for me to see somebody who's on the other end of that path, who's been able to make that transition and is like pursuing that. I have the utmost respect for that.
Thank you.
Oh, you're definitely welcome, man. Thank you for being you and doing that, because it's inspirational to people.
Yeah, of course.
The other thing,
Sometimes you just have to literally jump off and hope that there's water below, even if you can't see it. That's kind of been my
absolutely.
motto this last year. Jump even if you can't see that there's going to be something below you to catch you,
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, it's like part of going back to work is part of my amends process too, because I have this whole history of negative responses in a work scenario. So it's like I have to humble myself and work a traditional job for a little bit. That's just my path. Other people aren't going to have to do that.
Yeah.
But you definitely do have to jump, man. Even with just doing this podcast, it was like that jump experience. Something else that I really wanted to touch on as well was you talked about traveling. Traveling for me has been so life changing, man. I've only traveled within the states. I lived in 5 different states and within a
Yeah.
10-year period.
Mhm.
Learned so much. I just wanted to ask you, where did you travel, and out of all the places you traveled, which was your favorite one?
Like, do you want me to name everywhere that I've been?
Yeah.
Or, okay, I'll just give you the rundown of like the countries that I've visited. So I've done Mexico. I've been all over the United States. I've been to Thailand. I've spent a lot of time in Thailand. I've spent over a month there. I've been to Vietnam. I've been to Cambodia. I've been to India. I've been to Denmark, the Czech Republic. I've been to France, Belgium. I've traveled through England, Scotland, Ireland, the Netherlands, Portugal. If I said Belgium, I'm saying it again. Did I say that?
I think you did. It's cool.
Okay. And I think that's it. Something else might pop up along the way, but I think those are the main. And what was your second question?
What was your favorite place out of all those? I understand that's probably hard to differentiate a favorite out of all those places because they're so different, but
Well, I went through India too. I don't know if I said that. And I ended up in China for a few hours on the way home, but that's a different story. My favorite will always be Thailand. I love Thailand and I love India too. I love India for its own reasons. India was a place that really cracked me open, like at a very deep soul level. It was one of the most enriching, most powerful, most challenging months of my life. I would not trade it for the world. It was an amazing place to be, but Thailand will always be my favorite. And Thailand's my favorite because it's a Buddhist country. And like I study Buddhism, and the Thai people are so nice. I think people in Thailand are just genuinely nice people. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's convenient, it's so easy to travel. Anything that you want is really at your fingertips. It's cheap, it's gorgeous, and it's easy, and it's fun. And people spend time with each other organically. Like during the day, you just see families and people just sitting around with each other, genuinely enjoying meals in their time. People work their asses off there, but there's also a really great element of relaxation and values. You know, they really pay attention to what they value, and for them, it's a lot of times like relationships and spirituality and human connection. A lot of things that we lack here in the States. And yeah, I just love Thailand. And it's funny because I'm into astrology as well, and I pulled my chart recently, like something that's called astrocartography. And I have a sun line that goes straight through Thailand. And a sun line is typically something that is for most people like a really happy place, a really positive place, a really great experience. And like based on where you're born, there's different planets that go through different countries for each individual person. And it really wasn't surprising for me to find out that I had a sun line that goes right through Thailand, because Thailand's always been something that's really resonated with me and where I've had the most fun. I've gone there all alone for a month and left with, you know, so many friends that have come out to visit me in my country. I've gone to see them in theirs, and it's just like a melting pot of the world. I mean, some people complain that it's so touristy, but I think that's what makes Thailand really special, is because you get people from all over the world in one place. And if you're like a social person like me, you end up making friends with people in Thailand and, you know, other parts of Asia. I have friends all over Europe now because of my Thailand trips. It's just so amazing there. I can't wait to go back. It's one place that I know that I will be visiting many times in this lifetime.
that sounds awesome, man. It's one of the places I definitely want to check out at some point in my own travels when I get outside of the States. I like a lot of the things that you said about it too. I'm drawn to Buddhism myself, and a lot of the qualities that you say that they value are things that I've learned to value as I switch away from traditional American focus, I guess.
Absolutely.
I'm going to try to get through these next questions without touching too much on it so I don't hold you up all day. Could you explain who you, I already asked that one. Do you feel like you were different than others as a kid?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up in Orange County in Laguna Beach and Laguna Niguel, and I was a gay kid, obviously, and I was picked on a lot growing up, and I was different from the other boys in my class, and it was really hard. I always felt different from the moment I was born. I just felt separate and apart from everyone around me, and it was a really sad existence until, you know, my adult years. Like, childhood was fun. I had a great time, but I can remember a lot of darkness and a lot of separateness and a lot of feeling alone and different then. Yeah.
And something a lot of people have said on this show is how different they feel, man.
Yeah.
Like, what is the first instance that you might have noticed that you were different, or like what particular thing stands out the most when you're like, oh, wow, I'm different than other people?
I think I just noticed socially that I was different from other boys growing up. All my friends were girls. I was more scared and shy. I just noticed I would be the kid that would be like on the sidelines watching everyone playing very freely on the playground. And I would be kind of on the sidelines being really too scared to join. And I don't know if there's one instance, but I can just remember like the experiences that I had growing up. Like, things did not come natural for me. Socializing with other kids at school was not a natural thing because I feel like I socialized different, and it was really difficult too. Like, because all my friends were girls as a child, I was picked on hard for that. So it was like the way that I was always kind of, you know, looked down upon by teachers too and students. And so I kind of, like, based on society, I was wrong from the gate. And so when you already have that feeling of like not feeling good enough and bad about yourself as a child, and then society is really feeding that as well and telling you, you know what, all those things that you think about yourself are actually true, because it's not okay to be feminine or gay or different than, it really fed that part of me that I believed was wrong in myself. And yeah, that was my experience. And I'm so grateful that I've gotten the help that I needed to push through that. And I really just want to be a voice for the world, that for all the kids that are growing up in school, different than, or gay, or separate than, I mean, I can relate to that feeling of just like not wanting to be here and check out as a kid. And I guess I would tell all those kids that, like, it's okay to be you and yourself, and to just like really put your arms around yourself and love yourself for who you are, because as you get older, you know, you'll realize that it's not worth it, to be influenced by everyone else's what's right and what's wrong, and who you should be and who you shouldn't be. And you can get through that without destroying yourself. So
I have a lot of respect for your, go ahead, man.
I destroyed myself for many years over that stuff, and it's unnecessary and it's sad, and a lot of kids go through that too. And I hope as time evolves, I mean, the world looks pretty grim right now in some areas, but in other ways I can see some progress and evolution, and I hope that it continues so that people can live free and happy lives being who they are as people and as kids. And I hope that grows.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. I mean, I have a lot of respect for anybody that can overcome that kind of adversity and then position themselves in a position where they can share their own struggle and their own suffering from that to help other people maybe not have to go through it, or to let them know that they're not alone in that.
Right.
That's not my story personally. I have family members who have gone through that, and friends, and I have the utmost respect for people, regardless of what their orientation is, race, any of that stuff, because none of that shit matters at the end of the day. To me, it doesn't. It's just how you were born, how you're naturally aligned, and there's nothing wrong with it because it doesn't define you or anybody as a human being. It's more about how you show up, what you do for yourself, and how you treat everybody else, because none of that stuff matters. And when people think that it does, it's bullshit. I'd also say, as a kid, I was somewhat an asshole to some of the people that maybe had different alignments than my own. And it's something that I don't get the opportunity to apologize for. And although I didn't pick on you because I didn't know you, I apologize for people that were like that, sincerely, because it's a deficiency within those people that feel the need to pick on other people in those situations, not a deficiency in the individual.
That's beautiful. Thank you for saying that. You know, and a lot of those people that pick on other people are probably just hurting themselves, because I started to get mean myself because of the way that I was treated. And a lot of people respond out of fear and out of pain, and change is possible. And so thank you for saying that.
You're welcome, man. Thank you for accepting that. And yeah, you're right, dude. A lot of the stuff that people project, all the hate and all that anger and all that stuff, it's something within them that didn't get nurtured, or just things that were trickled down from their own social upbringing. Like, the world's sick, and there's a lot of trickle down trauma that people have to process to move forward.
Totally.
Um, do you have any odd experiences you are willing to discuss?
Well, I feel like my whole life has been kind of odd or ordinary. So I'm just going to discuss one thing that was kind of odd that happened this year. I I met my current boyfriend right this last year around this time, at the same time that I was planning on moving to Europe, which was super painful because I was falling in love with him at the same time wanting to pursue a dream that I had of living in another country and traveling. And when the day came for me to move, I just want to point out that he was amazing, and he didn't stand in my way of my dreams. He loved me enough to let me go, as hard as that was for him and for me. He didn't stand in my way, which I don't think a lot of people can say that they can do that for another person. He's very selfless and amazing, and I'm grateful for that, because he let me go and do things that I needed to do. But the interesting part of this story is the day that I left, my grandfather died, who was basically like a father to me. And when I was there in Europe, like, a lot of things just went wrong. Like, I was having family problems back home. I had another friend that committed suicide. Um, it was like everything that I wanted to happen when I moved to Europe did not happen at all. In fact, the exact opposite happened. And I was kind of like in a world of pain and hurt. But the moral of the story is like being able to be flexible in life, no matter what comes up. And you know what? I realized overseas that my want to be with my partner was bigger than my want to travel at the time. And so I decided to respect and honor that and come home for that. And I'm so grateful I did, because it has strengthened and created such an amazing relationship between the two of us. But also being able to set my ego and pride aside, because I had told all these people that I was leaving the States and I had this big going away party. And within 4 weeks, being able to say, you know what, you guys, I surrender and I'm coming home, because I have a lot of things back home that I need to tend to. One of them being love, another one being to bury my grandfather, and also to bury another friend and show up for his partner, who was survived here in the US. And also, if it wasn't for those experiences, what ended up happening is since I was like, screw it, since I can't stay in Europe, I'm gonna go to India for a month. And so if all of that didn't happen, I wouldn't have gone and lived in India and gotten certified to teach yoga and come back to LA as a yoga teacher doing what I want to do. And it's so funny, because I can make all these plans and ideas and want things to go exactly in one direction, and the universe can just be like, you know what? Nope, watch this. I'm literally going to create all this fucking chaos. Excuse my language.
You're fine. You can.
Yeah. So, like, to create all these problems or things that seem like problems, I was literally like brought to my knees in this situation. I mean, imagine like leaving for Europe, and 20 minutes before you're boarding your plane, you know, one of the most important people in your life passes away. And it's like making that decision to be like, do I stay or do I go? And going for myself and getting there and being able to stop and take a deep breath and be like, you know what, Thomas, it's okay. Like, you had the courage to come all the way out here, and now you get to have the courage to come all the way home. And people loved and supported me through that time. And I get emotional thinking about it because it's like, wow, this last year has been so challenging for me in so many ways, but so rewarding in so many ways as well. And thank God that like I have enough self-awareness and love from people around me that supported me and carried me through that time. And now I'm in such an amazing place today. And what a crazy, crazy experience. I mean, leaving the country and having all those deaths and problems go down, and then realizing that I needed to come right back here and honor my relationship and love and come back to LA doing what I love, teaching. And that's my ordinary or odd experience that I'm sharing with you guys today.
That is a very, very heavy experience, man. And all I can say is I'm grateful you were able to navigate through all that stuff. Recognize that you did the right thing by going, and you did the right thing by coming back. And that through all of that, you didn't find a single reason to pick up any kind of substance. And you just
Totally.
you did all the right things, it sounds like, man.
Yeah, and I wanted to at times. I mean, I was like, oh my God, what could possibly, I mean, it was like, I felt like my life was crumbling before me, and it would have been so easy. When I was flying home for those services, I was in the airport in Oslo, Norway, and I was literally wanting to drink so bad. And like, I'm so grateful for my sponsor at the time who answered the phone at like 4 a.m. US time and talked me through that. And I'm so grateful I stayed past that, because I proved to myself that I can stay clean and sober through all the bullshit that happens in life.
Yeah.
Imagine what my story would be like today if I picked up. It would have just been like the ugliest ending. I would have totally missed out on all the gifts and the beauty that came out of all those, heart-wrenching experiences.
Yeah, 5 minutes before the miracle, like they say, man.
Yep, absolutely.
No, that's amazing, dude. This is kind of a fun question. What superpowers do you possess, or what superpowers would you want?
So I don't think that I possess any superpowers. I do know that when I'm spiritually aligned and really in a good place, I have a really great sense of intuition. So I've always had the experience of like thinking about somebody, or somebody crosses my mind and they'll text me like in the next minute, or thinking about somebody, they cross my mind and then 5 minutes later they walk into my place of work, or I end up running into them in public. And I think I'm hyper aware of human connection. And oftentimes when I'm thinking about somebody and then they message me or physically show up in my presence when I didn't expect them to, it's because I am aware of our energetic connection that's actually taking place. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think I think everyone can do this if they tapped into like just their awareness with other people. They'll notice that this type of stuff happens all the time. And I think oftentimes we just kind of write it off as like, oh, that's funny, or how weird, or that was a coincidence. It's like, no, that's a real thing. And something that I think that I would like to possess, like a superpower I'd like to possess, would be like to teleport to anywhere at any time, because I'm a big traveler. So if I could just like today, it's Monday, 10:23 a.m. If I could just show up tonight in Tokyo, I would live for that. And then come back the next day. Like that would be so sick. So,
That would be awesome, man.
yeah.
I like how you pointed out that like intuition isn't necessarily a superpower. It's something that we could all kind of tap into. I saw a quote or a meme or something once where it said the only super ability that anybody possesses is super discipline. So maybe you have the discipline to be able to cultivate the mindset to where you're more open or aware of those experiences.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, that's awesome, man. Teleporting would be sweet too. As a traveler, it'd be awesome to just go wherever I want.
Yep.
What circumstances do you feel shaped your life?
Being an alcoholic and an addict, being gay, losing my father at 18 years of age, being a springboard and platform diver, and connecting me to my love for fitness, and my first treatment center in Oregon, because it was in nature and it helped me realize how much I love deep connection with planet Earth, and being sober and being vegan too. I'm vegan, and being vegan has completely changed my life, because it completely has aligned me to everything I believe in, which is compassion for others and nonviolence towards all things living. And yeah, those are my top. Being vegan and being sober are my main right now.
Those are awesome, man. I've been dipping my toe in vegetarianism, where I eat mostly vegetarian now, which is a big change up for me. I just noticed such a difference in the way that I feel. And it's something that my body was telling me to do, because there was a very long time where I was very cynical against vegetarianism. But like, I have such a different understanding after actually trying it, like evaluating it based upon experience and saying, wow, I feel so much healthier. I look healthier overall.
Yeah.
I'm living closer to what my beliefs are, I guess. And
Right.
I'm not perfect at it by any means yet. And maybe I'll pursue that more or not. But
Progress, not perfection, and the awareness is there. The key is just educating yourself on, for me, it's been like educating myself on really, the food, the dairy system, and the agricultural system in the United States. And yeah, just education has been, awareness, has been key for me. I'm lucky to live in LA, so I know that the options for me are a lot greater than somebody living in like middle America, because I have more people that eat and live like me here. And I know that, back in like the Midwest, it can be kind of difficult, but not impossible. But yeah, just the education of everything is really helpful.
Absolutely, man. I wish I would have kind of dove more into this when I lived out in Humboldt County, California. It would have been so accessible to be there.
Totally.
What positive lessons did you learn from your negative experiences?
Wow, I could list probably like a million right now, because there's always something positive that comes out of the negative. Um, I'm just gonna say that pain is the touchstone of all spiritual growth. That's a quote out of the 12 and 12 in our program, or in AA, if you follow that at all. But through my greatest adversities have become my greatest assets today, because I get to use all of those things to help other people, and to as a measuring stick for where I've gone and for who I am today. And I get to be grateful for that. And my pain and my lowest low is literally my greatest success today, because I get to look at that and be like, wow, look at how far I've come. And yeah, I got to, through all of my negative experiences, I got to reshape and relearn that I am a good person despite all the shitty things that I've done in my life. And I get to have a new experience today as Thomas, not as the Thomas I was before, because I've identified myself as such a piece of shit for so many years, and being able to rewrite that story is fucking huge. I mean, anyone can do it. Not many people do, but we all get the opportunity here to rewrite our stories. And I'm learning that today. I have 5 years sober, but I'm still trying hard on a daily basis to be aware of the person I was, but also stepping into my power today and being like, this is who I am today as a sober individual trying to do the right thing.
That's beautiful, man. That's something I've been thinking about lately with just my little bit of time that I have, like thinking about, I'm not the actions of who I used to be. I'm somebody completely different now, but I definitely can't disassociate from who I was, because I don't ever want to forget the hell that I went through and the hell that I put other people through, because I don't want to go back, but I couldn't be who I am had I not been through that either.
Yeah, totally.
This is kind of a fun question. What songs or bands have lyrics that most resonate with you at this moment?
Oh man. Okay, so currently I've been listening to a lot of music that it doesn't have lyrics. Like, really, like the music that I've been listening to lately is like instrumental, and it kind of like takes me to a place in my mind that's positive. But there's this group that I was introduced to recently. It's called Beautiful Chorus. It's a group of women that experienced cancer, like stages of cancer that were like deadly, like they weren't supposed to live. And they've put together a group called Beautiful Chorus, and they've like healed themselves through music and mantras. So they're more like mantras. And I'm pulling up a couple names of the songs right now. So one of them is called Be Here Now. One of them is called I Am a Being of Love. I Am Perfect as I Am. So those song titles are literally all that they say during the song over and over, but it's so beautiful because it's a chorus and it's like to really simple melodies and beats. And I don't know, I put that on and really think about it, and it puts me in such a great positive space. And I've turned other people onto it who have just like cried to the lyrics. So look it up. It's called Beautiful Chorus, Mantras in Love, available on Spotify and iTunes, and it's amazing. So that's it.
I'll have to check that out, man. I like that. It sounds like it's something that can give you some positive affirmations and also something that's pleasant to listen to, which I think people really should delve into more often.
Yeah.
I feel like you answered this somewhat, but I just want to see if what your answer is. What philosophy, spirituality, or religions do you find most aligned with your understanding? And can you please explain them as they apply to you?
Buddhism. I don't claim myself as a Buddhist, but Buddhism is like compassion for all living beings. And Buddhism is, for me, like I've studied more of like this new age kind of Buddhism recently. Well, it's 2,500 years old, but it's a newer form of Buddhism. And it's really all about, creating the life that you want and winning in every situation, and manifestation.
Mm.
And, just like building that within inside yourself. And I found a group of people in LA that practice and chant, and I've been involved with that for a couple of years now, and it's exponentially changed my life for the better. So I'm like team Buddhism, but I also get a lot out of like Hinduism. I mean, I studied a lot of that in India, and just anything like Far East, really. And that maybe uses like gods or deities more as a way to give representation than actually like, you know, Jesus in the sky. That totally works for some people. I'm not knocking that at all, but for me, it's like helpful to have like a God that represents like compassion or self-love or forgiveness. And it's not really like that God is up there, but like it's just a physical representation, something tangible that I can see to like live better as a human. And I find that a lot through like Buddhism and Hinduism. So
I identify a lot with Eastern philosophies, and some concepts of Buddhism have really helped me in recovery. Taoism is something else that like
totally,
I really identify with also. I find there to be a lot of wisdom in those teachings. Not to knock any other things work for different people like you had shared,
totally.
but I definitely relate to Eastern spirituality and religion and philosophy.
Yeah, they're all the same. They're just all kind of getting us to the same place, but they resonate differently with other people. And that's what's always drawn me in.
Absolutely. What do you perceive as your life's purpose?
Oh, man. My life's purpose is literally just to take my experiences and help other people. And my life's purpose is to, it's to like be compassionate to myself. And to, I think for me, the game here on earth is I have so much power to destroy myself, and to not let that happen, and to take good care of myself and my soul as I'm alive here and now, and to use that to help other people. And that's it.
It's completely vibe with that, dude. Completely beautifully said. I feel like you answered this within your last answer, but what do you need to feel that you are working towards that goal?
Just spiritual daily practice, communication like this with other people. Like this conversation right now is just so affirming to where I'm at personally. Meditation, teaching yoga, practicing yoga, being a student and a teacher, practicing what I preach, practicing turning things over and having faith, staying sober, just anything that feeds my soul and gives me room for expansion. That's what the answer is going to be. Just anything that's going to be good for me, I need to do in order to live out that purpose, and counteract the ugly and the part of me that says, you're a failure, you're not good enough, you should just use or drink or destroy yourself. being able to take contrary action every day is the name of the game.
Totally, dude. I completely vibe with that too. I'm all like charged up from hearing this. It's like very inspirational and motivational to me, man.
Thank you. I need it too. I'm saying it out loud because I need to hear it for myself also.
Oh, I definitely get that too, man. Whenever I share, it's like this is exactly what I needed to hear. So it's cool, like how that works sometimes. Um, if you had to describe your personal philosophy or condense your life experience into as few words as possible, what would it be?
Condense my life philosophy in as few of words as possible. What would it be? My life philosophy would be in as few of words as possible. Just to not take anything for granted, to appreciate physical life and human connection with others and with yourself. Because at the end of the day, we're not taking any of this with us. And so being able to come back to the things that really matter. This is a lot of words, but I really can't package it into a few sentences. But just to be grateful and present for what really matters in life is my life philosophy.
That's beautiful, man. It's like that's pretty much my prayer every day that I send out to whatever is thank you. I'm so grateful. So I get it, bro. Who inspires you?
My mom inspires me because she's so strong and amazing. My grandfather inspires the hell out of me. He's not with us anymore, but he did amazing things in his life. My boyfriend, Jeremy, inspires me entirely because he is somebody who is always seeking and wanting to work on and do better for himself. And it's really nice to see that in somebody who's maybe not like an alcoholic or an addict like me, but just like, a normal person on earth who is constantly wanting and seeking to do better on his own. Is a beautiful thing to watch, because I think for me it has taken like having to go through huge struggles in order to be like, okay, I'll do something about my life. And like to see somebody that just daily wants to do better and be better and continuously evolve, I think that's awesome. And I'm just inspired by anybody that is living the life that they want. I'm inspired by people that are traveling the world. I'm really just inspired by humans in general. I mean, I love people like Oprah. Oprah inspires me. I'm definitely inspired by like different authors and stuff, but really for me, my inspiration comes from like my friends and my family and people that are just trying to be good people and do what they want to do and live life as they want to live it. And that aren't going through, Groundhog's Day, like 9 to 5, go home, watch TV and sleep, like doing stuff that they actually want and love to do. That's what inspires me.
That's such an awesome answer, dude. I love it when people say that people close to them inspire them, because it's like you have a limitless supply of inspiration. Then, like, you always have somebody lighting your fire if it's so close, and like you can see it in everybody, or things like that. Like, there's no limit to where you can go with that, except whatever you put upon yourself at that level.
Right.
I have a couple more questions. I'm going to ask this one now. Do you have like some links that you want to throw out? Anything that you want to plug? Anything like that?
Links?
Yeah, like to a website or like to anything where people could
reach out to me.
Yeah.
I would just follow my Instagram. My Instagram is literally where I post all things yoga, all things travel, all things vegan, all things spiritual. It's my platform for really sharing with the world what I like to do on a daily basis. So it's at Thomas Harris 7, at ThomasHarris 7. And you can follow me there. And I post dope shit on the daily.
That's awesome, man. I'll be sure to drop a link into the description of the episode as well, so people can just find it that way.
Yeah.
I'll have to follow you also if I'm not already. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't think we are. We need to connect on there. But I have a website coming soon, all for yoga. It's going to be a travel blog. And so if you follow my Insta, then I will have the link in my bio. And Right now I have a link in my bio of a magazine that I just did, a cover of a magazine in West Hollywood that talks about my yoga and spiritual journey through sobriety. And if you want to go on my Instagram and read that as well, you can get a better idea of how yoga and meditation changed my life. So, yeah.
Awesome, dude. This is one of the last formal questions. What books would you recommend to others, or what books have impacted you the most?
I would recommend reading Siddhartha if you like Eastern philosophy. The Alchemist is also a great book. I know a lot of people love that one, but for me, that's just an amazing read. And one other book that I'm currently reading now that people suggested for me to read for years is The Untethered Soul. And it's so pertinent for me to be involved in this book right now because I am so attached to my thinking and my thoughts, and it is teaching me how to remove myself from being my thoughts and observing my thoughts and observing the chatter in my head that goes on 24 hours a day. And my mind talks to itself 24 hours a day. And I get so sucked into thinking that I am my thoughts and I am that voice. And it's like really mind blowing through this book to realize that I can pull myself back and be an observer of all that chatter that's going on in my brain. And it's like, whoa, there's like an existential part of me outside of my thoughts that's observing those thoughts, and there's a separation between the two things. It shuts my mind up, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So everyone should read it, The Untethered Soul. It's amazing. For if you have a busy mind, buy it. It took me 5 years to buy. I'm finally reading it at the suggestion of a therapist and friends and family, and it's a great read.
I'll definitely have to check those out. Siddhartha has come up before, like we were talking about before. The Alchemist has come up before. And then the whole thing about disconnecting from your thoughts, as somebody who has mental illness as well as addiction, that's one of the things for me where I have to pull back and be like, what is Ross doing right now? Like, seriously, bro, I don't have time for all this non-sensory that you're spewing about. I got shit to do. Like, totally. I've asked previous guests to end the show in their own fashion. You don't have to, but you're allowed to have the last word and close this out however you'd like.
I just want to say thank you, Ross, for having me on the show today. I feel like I really said everything that I wanted to say and more. I'm really grateful to have a platform to express myself with other people about things that I love to do and things that I'm passionate about, and to be able to, get on this podcast and share that. It literally makes my heart feel so full because all I've wanted this year was to take my experiences and be able to tell them to other people. When I came back to LA, I felt like I kind of had this big secret because I had a package and bundle of all these really rich life experiences that no one knew about, and everyone's just here doing their day-to-day life. And I just kind of felt like, well, there goes that. But like in opportunities like this, when I get to like speak about it and share about it, it makes it also worth it. And so I would just say, like, if you have life stuff that has come up, mental illness, any type of adversity or struggle that you've overcome, like, share it. Like, now is the time that people are really coming forward and speaking up about, things that a lot of people don't like to talk about. And it's so empowering. And I'm grateful to have a space to do this here on The Spiritual Phoenix. And so thank you for tuning in and listening, and namaste.
Don't believe. Don't follow. Do not consume. Do not watch. Largely what I'm talking about here is reclaiming experience. This is what's been taken from us. It's a self-advancing, self-expanding, self-defining process, and it takes no prisoners.
The real world isn't a spiritual world, it isn't a material world, it isn't an empty world, it isn't a solid world. It's simply